Close problems with Indiana's ISTEP test, including scoring errors, computer glitches and delays in results, have led to efforts to replace the test. Here's what is happening next. Dwight Adams, Dwight.Adams at IndyStar.com. Brownsburg Community Schools led the state in ISTEP performance for the third straight year as scores on the statewide measure of student academic achievement continued their downward trend. The test, which measures students in grades 3 through 8 and grade 10 on their mastery of math and English concepts, and other subjects in some grades, was administered last spring. Brownsburg was one of several suburban school districts in and around central Indiana to rank among the top performers in the state. Other area districts in the top 10 for combined student performance across all tested grades were Carmel Clay, Plainfield and Zionsville. ISTEP scores 2018. Here are the top schools from around Indiana. In central Indiana, a look at the districts in Seven counties and Hamilton County. Carmel leads again. Also making the list were two Indianapolis K-8 schools, the Paramount School of Excellence Charter and the Oaks Academy, a private Christian school. As school district, Brownsburg led the state in elementary and middle school performance, and Brownsburg High School was among the top achieving public high schools in Indiana. We're really focused on what the state says is important for our kids to learn, and our teachers teach that exceedingly well, said Brownsburg Superintendent Jim Snap. Brownsburg's scores at the elementary and middle school level improved while grade 10 scores dipped slightly from the previous year, a trend felt by schools across the state, where scores were largely flat with slight declines. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Jennifer McCormick said bright spots were the improvements in 3rd grade math and 8th grade English. ISTEP is one of the many tools Indiana uses to measure student achievement, and this year's results indicate we are moving in the right direction, McCormick said. Indiana's classrooms are full of dedicated educators who spend each day preparing our children for academic success, and I am grateful for their hard work. McCormick moving on, 2 years in, state superintendent, she won't seek another term. Changes on the horizon, after Roncalli, state school chief calls for LGBT-friendly strings on school voucher money. 10th grade performance statewide, just about 1/3 of 10th grade students passed both math and English portions of the ISTEP. Nearly 60% of students passed the English exam, 36% passed math. For students of color, the results were worse. About 1 in 10 black students passed both sections and fewer than 1 in 5 Hispanic students did so, compared to 40% of white students. Achievement gaps also persisted between low-income students and their more affluent counterparts. Just 18% of low-income high school students passed both math and English portions of the ISTEP, compared to 46% of students who don't qualify for financial assistance. Passing rates for special education students and English language learners were the lowest for any subgroup of students in grade 10, just 6% and 2.5%, respectively. Elementary, middle school scores. The gaps in grades 3 through 8 are similar, while achievement levels are higher across the board. Just more than half of all students in Indiana elementary and middle schools passed both the math and English portions of the test. Passing rates were above 50% in grades 3 to 6 but fell to 45% in grade 7 and 49% in 8th grade. More than 64% of elementary and middle school test takers passed the English portion of ISTEP, down from 65% in the previous year. Math scores were basically flat year over year, with just over 58% of students passing. At those grade levels, achievement gaps persisted between white students, who passed at a rate of nearly 58%, and students of color. About a quarter of black students passed both math and English tests in grades 3 through 8. Nearly 37% of Hispanic students did the same. Low-income students were about half as likely as their more affluent peers in elementary and middle school to pass ISTEP. Students who qualify for financial assistance for school meals passed at a rate of 35.5%, compared to 66.3% of students who do not qualify. Fewer than 1 in 5 special education students and English language learners passed both math and English portions. performance at individual schools and between communities varies widely, from high performers like several suburban districts in central Indiana that outpace the state by 20 points or more to districts whose scores are 20 points or more below the state average. Gary Community Schools was the lowest performing school district in the state for elementary and middle school students. Just 12% of students passed both math and English exams, and among the worst at the high school level. In rural Medora, none of the 11 high school students who took the ISTEP this past spring passed both portions. District was also among the lowest performing in earlier grades. Low performance continues at IPS. Indianapolis Public Schools continues to be the lowest performing district in the metro region, with fewer than a quarter of elementary and middle school students passing both math and English portions of the ISTEP. In Marion County, though, Perry Township, Franklin Township and Speedway were the only traditional public schools to outperform the state average. Just 5% of IPS high school students passed both the math and English 10th grade ISTEP. 70 students out of more than 1,300 that took the test. Franklin Township and Speedway schools are the only Marion County districts that recorded grade 10 passing rates above the state average. And while the city is home to some of the lowest performing schools and districts in the state, the counties surrounding it house some of the highest performing. In addition to Brownsburg, several other suburban districts are among the best public districts in the state. At the elementary and middle school level, top performers include Carmel Clay, Plainfield, Zionsville, and Hamilton Southeastern. Bar Reef schools, in Montgomery, and West Lafayette schools are also among the top public districts. At the high school level, top districts include the metro area's Carmel Clay, Brownsburg, Zionsville and Center Grove schools. Other high-performing districts across the state include West Lafayette, South Gibson and Batesville schools. This level of disparity is not unique to public school districts. While performance tends to be higher at private schools, scores at public charter schools is a mixed bag. Metro area charter schools can be found among the highest and lowest performing in the state. This was the last year for the ISTEP test in elementary and middle school. This year's elementary and middle school students will take the new, Computer Adaptive ILEARN exam. While the test is supposed to be an improvement over the ISTEP, switching to a new test will make it difficult to compare performance across years. Grade 10 students will continue to take the ISTEP exam while state officials decide what will replace it. The state is moving to a college admission exam, like the SAT or ACT, for its federally required high school test but needed more time to figure out which test to use. It will have to be approved by the U.S. Department of Education, as well. That means ISTEP will be given at least 2 more years in Indiana high schools. Call Indy Star Education reporter Eureka Heron at 317-444-6077. Follow her on Twitter, @ErikaHeron. Read or share this story, https://www.ndStar.com/story/news/education/2018/10/03/metro-area-schools-lead-state-ISTEP-performance/15076830002/